Good morning, Vikings and Indians. I'm Mrs. Couvillion, principal at Fort Walton Beach High School, and this is my good friend Cindy Gates, principal at Choctawhatchee High School.
And good morning, Indians and Vikings. As you guys know, we're right around the corner to a very important week for both of our schools. We want to talk to you about this week because it's called Spirit Week. And in that, it should be a spirit week where everybody is having a good time, but there's a difference in spirit, and there's a real difference in spirit and vandalism. So let's talk about that for just a moment. We know that you guys, as students, both Indians and Vikings, plan things all week long, special pepper rallies, special days at your school, and we encourage you to become engaged in those days and those nights and have a great time. You're going to need to have that time with your school. You'll need to stay at Choctaw High School or stay at Fort Walton Beach High School to enjoy whatever spirit activities are going on. Now, vandalism takes it to a whole new level that sometimes even Miss Couvillion and I do not have. It's not something that we can choose to say this is what the punishment would be or the discipline, but it may take it a step further. So I'm going to let Miss Couvillion talk a little bit about the difference between spirit and vandalism.
Okay, Vikings and Indians, we want you to be spirited. We want you to dress up every day. We want you to come to the night pep rally at Fort Walton if you're a Viking, and the night pep rally at Choctaw if you're an Indian. We want you to engage in the rivalry of the football teams on the field. However, we don't want you going out and destroying property at Fort Walton Beach High School or at Choctawhatchee High School. We don't want you to go destroy property at people's homes, their businesses, their automobiles. In the past, we have had situations where the school spirit has gotten too extreme. We've had kids who have almost had car wrecks. Our biggest fear is that we get a call one night that our kids, in trying to evade a group of kids from the other school, have been involved in a car wreck and have been seriously injured. And folks, that has come close to happening. Also, we have had, Ms. Gates has had calls, I have had calls. We've had personal experience where property has been damaged to the tune of hundreds of thousands of dollars. In the community as a whole, not at any one site, but thousands of dollars. And in that case, it will be turned over to law enforcement. Mrs. Gates and I do not have a choice about it. If you go out and vandalize someone's home, car, visit, a business or property, the law enforcement will get involved in it. And really, we're at the point in dealing with this that that's what we want to take over, and we don't want to have to deal with it. We love our students. We want y'all to have a good time, but you've got to keep it under control.
Indians and Vikings, I want you to know that Miss Couvillion and I have been very dear friends for a very long time. We're both very competitive, and we both enjoy what happens during that week, but it makes it a very long week for our students and for our administrators and even for our district administrators when students make the wrong choices, when they decide to do something that truly does either hurt somebody or really tear up some property that cost a lot of money to take care of. So I just want you to know that we believe in what's going on with the two schools. This is our community. Many of you work together. Many of you go to church together. Some of you live next door to each other. And we want to keep Spirit Week alive. And if there are things that get out of our control, then we'll be making a decision at some point that won't even exist. And we don't want that to happen. Now, one of the things that happens this year is that Halloween happens to be on Friday, October 31st, the day of our big game. And so even at school, we aren't allowing costumes or any kind of mask, anything that might cover your face. We know it's Halloween, but we are celebrating Spirit Week and a football game during that week and on that Friday night. So if you are participating in some sort of Halloween activity where you have a costume, you have a mask, then you need to go to the Halloween activity. And if you're coming to the ball game, then you need to wear your Indian and your Viking shirts and come and support your team without bringing Halloween into the stadium, because we are visiting Indians, we are visiting the Vikings this year, and we are going to stick to that. You come to get into the stadium, you won't be allowed in the stadium. and or if you were to put on a mask during the time that you're there, then you'll be asked to leave at that point, because we want to make it clear that two separate things are happening: Halloween in the community, and then
our game.
And we want to keep those two things separate.
Absolutely. And also, guys, remember, on your way to the stadium, whether you're a Viking or an Indian, there will be lots of little kids out trick-or-treating. You need to make sure that you drive very safely, very cautiously, because we don't want anybody to be hurt on this night for any reason. Along those same lines, as you know, and Indians, and we appreciate the fact that you've honored this in the past. Because of the way our bleachers are made, we have the metal bleachers with the grooves, and also because of our turf, we respectfully ask that you bring no silly string into the stadium. I know that Niceville does that, and that's great, and maybe you get to do it at your home stadium because you have the concrete bleachers, but our setup is very different with our turf, and so we ask that you honor our facility by not bringing silly string or things that will get down into those grooves. And we definitely appreciate it. We're looking forward to a very great Spirited Week. We have great schools. We appreciate our friendship with the Indians. We want it to be fun, but we want it to be safe, and we would like for it to be as stressless as possible.
And I appreciate the Vikings having us and inviting us over for this game. We all know how important it is to our community, and it will continue to be that way if you guys continue to make the right choices. Also, Indians, anytime that we're a visitor in somebody else's home, we respect their rules, their policies, and procedures. So there will be no silly string. And we don't... there's no paint, no spray cans of paint, or no paint that you would put on posters, because that also not only could damage the Viking stadium, but we've talked about it before, it damages any stadium. So we want it to be good, clean, spirited fun. This is actually Miss Couvillion's last Spirit Week, because she's going to be retiring. So I'm going to miss her very much, specifically during this week, and may ask her to come back and help during that week. But I do appreciate you, Ms. Couvillion.
Thank you, Ms. Gates,
for working with me as long as that I've been principal, so that we've worked together, so that it hasn't been something that we had to go to battle about. We have just supported one another during every one of these, the good, the bad, and the ugly, and we expect it all to be good. So thank you for listening, and good luck to both teams, the Vikings and the Indians, on Friday night.
And we'll see you on Halloween night at Steve Riggs Stadium, 7 o'clock. For a great contest, because I know both schools support their kids on the field. Thank you, Ms. Gates.
Thank you, Ms. Couvillion.